Hi everyone. So this is my first attempt at a voiceover, and today I'm going to be doing an art journal page. I already prepped the page by putting a coat of Mod Podge on the back to help it keep it from wrinkling. And here you see that I'm putting down some collage with some papers. I got some collage packs from an artist by the name of Sean Petite, and she is absolutely become my favorite artist, and I relate to her the most out of everybody that I watch and I subscribe to. She is just awesome, and her art is very collagey, and colorful and stuff. And she has some different ways about her in terms of, she likes the grunge, and I like a little bit of the grunge, but I think I'm more of a bright person that I'm finding. But her art is right up my alley, and I'm very, very much inspired by her. So this page, I'm using some of her collage packs to create this page. So here I'm just using my Liquitex matte medium to put it down with. I think I have a cleaning obsession when it comes to my art table. You'll see that I clean up quite a bit. Over to the right there, you'll see I have some of the collage pieces that I'm going to be using later on. And one of them was a piece of sewing pattern paper, and I'll explain why I didn't like using it later on in the video, and you'll see why. So here I'm just drying it up so I can add the next layer. Now that that's all dry, let's see, what am I going to start out with here? Oh, I get looking for my paintbrush that I want to use. I'm using mostly, actually I'm using all Deco Art paints on this. All of them are fluid acrylics, except for one, which I mixed myself, and I'll talk about that later in the video. This was quinacridone magenta, and this is titanium white. And I find that I use my craft mat a lot to put my paint out on, but you'll see during the video it creates sort of a mess on my side. Although it's easy to clean up, I think I'm going to maybe start using some deli paper or something off to the side as my palette. And then I'll have colored papers to use. There I go, cleaning again. And why I say that I need to get out of the habit of using my craft mat as my palette. Gets in my way a lot. So I'm just putting on the paper here and spreading it with a little bit of water. Still not liking how I spread my paint. I can't seem to get the right puddling. I do like drips sometimes, but I don't like to use it all the time, and it's widely overrated, but I do like it. But I like more so the puddling that you get before the actual drips happen, and I'm trying to learn how to create that with my brush or finger, so it doesn't look, so you don't see all the brush strokes and it looks blended. And so I'm still working on that in terms of getting it to be right. And I know I hadn't put out a video last couple weeks, well, probably 3.5 weeks now. I've been doing a lot of soul searching in terms of my art. I've only been in the mixed media world for about 1.5 years now, and I'm still learning. And so I've been really just, partly I haven't had, not that I didn't have the inspiration, but I just, I kind of, I just really want to find out where I'm going. Where am I heading? What do I like? What I don't like? Um, and you know, over the last 1.5 years, it's been quite the journey. But I'm finally found, or finally discovered all the things that I truly like about my art, and what I like to do. I definitely like collage, and I like the sketchy look. I like bright but muted color. Um, Here I go using my finger and attempting to get the right smushing of the paint that I want on this paper. But anyway, so the last few weeks I've been, educating myself more by watching people's videos and trying to develop my techniques. So, not that I have a plan or a definite idea when I sit down to do a piece, but I have a flow. The creativity is there and the inspiration is there, especially, when I watch some of my favorite artists on YouTube. But I just really needed to take some time the last few weeks and really figure out and develop, you know, my style, what I like and what I don't like. So I thought I would just do a quick art journal page today and share it with you guys. I did use some white around the page to lighten it up a little bit, and then around the edges here, you'll see I'm bringing in some, I think it was phthalo blue and the fluid acrylics. Still, again, trying to get used to or allow myself to blend with my fingers to get the right look that I'm going for. And I have an obsession about keeping the binder or binding side of my page clean of paint. You'll see I wipe that down quite a bit. Here I go again. I don't know why I do that, but I just find that it's an OCD of mine, I guess. Here I go cleaning up my craft mat again because I've made a mess. But let's see. What am I going to do next here? I think I dry it next, but we'll see. So yeah, I dried it, and now I'm coming in. I'm using some bubble wrap and putting on some titanium white, kind of brighten up those darker areas. The piece ends up coming out a little bit darker than I wanted, and I think I mentioned, or I wanted to mention, that in one of the things that I've discovered about myself, that I really like the kind of sketchy look in my art around my collage. And I found that I didn't put in as much sketching as I would have liked. So here I'm using a Shaun Petite stencil. She has a lot of cool stencils on her website. I'll put the link below for her channel, and then you guys can look her up if you don't know of her already. She is absolutely, like I said, she is my top favorite artist so far. This is a homemade lattice stencil that I cut out with my Silhouette, and I think I'm using some of the quinacridone magenta through the stencil. I just want to give it some texture and some different shape before I put my final collage down. Apologize for the sniffles. I have developed allergies on top of becoming asthmatic in the last year and a half. So it's odd to say, but somebody at 40-something years old can develop allergies and asthma, because I am proof of that. So here I'm taking a Crafters Workshop stencil, and I'm using black to bring in some offset to the colors that are on the page. I find that I'm not the best stenciler. It comes out smudgy sometimes. I'm still working on trying to figure out the best tool for me. Some people use sponges, some people use stencil brushes, and I still haven't quite figured out how I like to put it through the stencil so I can get it to come out right. But these came out okay. So now I'm just going to dry that. And here I'm thinking about what's my next step. I find that sometimes creating pieces takes me a little while because I haven't had it planned necessarily, except for maybe an element or two, maybe or a color idea. So I find that I take a while to create a piece because I'm sitting there thinking about what's the next step. Here I'm using another stencil I cut with my Silhouette, and I'm using, let's see, what color did I use for that? Oh, I think that was the quinacridone gold. Yeah, it was the quinacridone gold. To bring in a little bit of orange. So let's see, where was I? Oh yes, the time it takes me to create a piece. That's another reason why I kind of felt that maybe I should try fast forward, and now I'm trying my first attempt at a voiceover, because my art takes me a while to create it. I feel like I'm slower than most people. Take me a couple hours to do a piece that probably takes most of you all half that time, just because I sit there and I he and haw about what's next step I want to take. And getting it all to come out, the image that's in my head, out onto the piece. Another thing I'm trying to work on is borders. I wanted the dark border around here, but I'm still working on, you'll see with the next phase, I bring in some white to push back some of the color in the middle a little bit. But I find that because I'm still working on how I like to spread my paint around, that it becomes very, the edges come out weird. They look weird to me. They don't look all smooth and blended like the rest of y'all's pieces do. Y'all make it look so simple to blend and smudge and push and brush the paint around the page to where it looks smooth and fluid. Excuse me. So here I used a mixture of titanium white and Titan buff. I'm going to try to tone down or push back the background a little bit. And then I'll bring back the border again later on, you'll see. I'm going to do a couple phases of putting this on and wiping it back. I want to cover up all the background, but I want a little bit of it peeking through. I want to brighten it up a little bit. Here I am trying to use a mixture of the brush and my finger and still not feeling it looking right. So I wipe it off. And this is just a, let's see, what is this, 7 by 9? This is, no, 7 by 10 Canson Mixed Media Art Journal page. Originally, over the past year or so, I was trying to figure out the best art journals that I like to use, whether it be, first I started with homemade books and or magazine pages to fiddle with to figure out what I liked best. And eventually came across this by watching Tracy Weinzapple using this kind of spiral bound journal where the pages can come out and you can put them back in, and I thought I would enjoy that, and I do. It's the best journal that I've stuck with so far. However, I recently bought a Strathmore Mixed Media Journal with a coupon from Michaels, and I did a page in that, and I really love the pages and the cover of that journal. And with using this spiral bound, I found that I didn't want to create on the back side of the piece. So like on every piece, it's just the one side, and I felt kind of limited in the, you say, how much retail space I had to create something with. But with the Mixed Media Journal, I feel, or I actually like creating on both sides, front and back, and across the whole spread. So I do like that journal. And you'll see more of work from me in that journal. So what I did was I took a little bit of that mixed paint that I was telling you in the beginning that it's Deco Arts, but it's a mixture of gold and silver together, and it kind of gives a toned down copper patina color, and I really like it. So that was the homemade paint that you see me spread on there before. And so these are some of the collage pieces that I have. The one strip of paper, I used my distress ink to distress a little bit, and then the rest of the pieces I used my archival ink to go around the edges. And here's where I felt that I went wrong. I wanted to, in the background, underneath where my quoting was going to go, and around my flowers, I wanted to do a bunch of sketching of leaves and um, curlicues and stuff behind here. But I found with, I don't think it was it was the fact that I used the pattern paper underneath it that was the problem. But what I did was, what I thought I wanted to do, which I did, is I took that piece of pattern paper and in an attempt to make it more translucent, which it kind of did, I used my technique that I use with my regular deli paper or tissue paper is I take my Daddy Vans wax and I slightly go over it a little bit to make the paper translucent. And I think in doing that, because when I put this piece down, it was hard to sketch on. I didn't want to use a pen. I wanted to use my charcoal pencil to draw in the background, like I said, some leaves and some curlicues and that underneath the flowers to kind of bring in like a shadow leaf effect. And you'll see here that I try to draw on that little piece of pattern paper that I put the Daddy Vans on and found that it did not want to write on that. So I didn't get everything in this piece that I wanted, but the piece came out okay. So here you'll see I took a butterfly and I cut out the middle and just kept the wings. And then the heart I made with modeling paste and a piece of scrapbook paper and some napkins. And so I'm using my gel medium and matte medium to adhere it down. And you'll see there that container I always show with my gesso. It's just a container that had some soup bouillon in it. So when it got finished and cleaned it out, it was the perfect size container to hold my gesso, which that I'm trying to use up because I don't necessarily care for that gesso. So there's that piece of pattern paper that I'm putting down, which it adhered well enough, but again, to write over it, even with putting the matte medium over it, it didn't want to allow me to use my charcoal pencil. And there's the scrap piece of paper. I fiddled with the placement of this stuff for a few minutes there, you've seen, because I couldn't quite decide how I wanted it. I had the vision, I just, you know, placement sometimes is very important. So here I'm just going over it and bringing in my flowers, which again were part of the collage pack papers that I acquired through purchase, like I said, from Shaun Petit's site. But I'll list again, I'll list a link to her YouTube page and her website. She's got a lot of stencils, a lot of cool stencils, and she does a lot of awesome pieces. Again, being a fanatic about cleaning up my workspace. Don't know why, I just can't be messy and just leave it. Maybe it's another OCD thing I got to work on. So here I'm just taking a little bit of gesso, and it looks brighter than it actually is in person. I just wanted a little bit to tone the background of that piece of paper there. Once it dried, it came out perfect. It was just good balance of the brown with a little bit of highlights where I could stamp my quote. Here I am just drying it up, so once it's done I can come in with my charcoal pencil and do some outlining and shading and stuff, which is another thing that I really like to do. I really like the collage, and I really like, you know, the sketchy look and bringing in the shading with my charcoal pencil. and if this voiceover thing works out. Although it takes a while to put together a video and do the voiceover, because I stop the camera on my downtime when I'm doing my thinking part, because I don't want to keep the camera rolling while I'm sitting there doing nothing. And so, you know, you have all these different videos, I don't know, 3, 4, whatever. And then you got to combine them all through the video editing. And now I'm attempting a voiceover, which takes an additional time. So, I don't know. We'll see. I might just go back to doing regular real-time videos. It's just easier. But then I find I don't have a whole lot to talk about while I'm doing the project, and it's real time, so you're stuck with me during the downtimes. So I don't know, we'll see how this one works out. If it works out well, then maybe I'll just mix it up, and if I know I have a short project, then I'll just do it real time, and then these longer projects maybe do with voiceover. So here I took one of my favorite grains of the Dylusions, and I used some floating medium with it. Floating medium with it. It's the fluff that's in paint that gives paint its fluff. So if you take the color that you're trying to use, and you mix it in with the floating medium, it makes it really translucent. And so what I wanted to do here was bring in some green, translucent, like shadow leaves on my project before I did my outlining and shading. And I think this is the first brush I went to go use, and then I changed my mind. Or maybe we already went past that part. And what I was going to also do, I think I was saying that earlier in the video, I was going to draw in some sketchy leaves and swirls and stuff, but when I found that I couldn't write on that piece of paper, I didn't do that. I wish I had done a little bit, maybe up towards the top part of the flowers and stuff. Even though I'm going to be stamping over some of that area, I still wish I had done that. Sometimes you just don't get everything in the project. Sorry about the dogs in the background. Quiet! Quiet, my puppy. Must have been the mailman he's barking at. So here's where I take my charcoal pencil and I'm going to start doing my outlining and shading. I think I have to go back and dry it again. Yep. Here I go. And the charcoal pencils, depending on which one you get, they're excellent for shading. I find that I like the soft and the extra soft the best because it's easy to smudge with your finger. So I use those a lot now. They fast become one of my favorite tools in my toolbox. But I think I'm finally feeling comfortable with where I'm at and the type of art I like to create. I hope that I keep the inspiration going and can bring lots more content more often. The trick for me is to, you know, get what's in my head out on the piece. And I think I'm kind of there. You know, I've learned a lot by watching all the YouTube videos, and that's really been my school of art, if you will. I never went to art school, self-taught, and think I'm finally at a comfortable place. So hopefully I'll be able to put out a lot more content. And I'm close to reaching 100 subscribers, and so that's exciting. I will do a giveaway. I have some things already ready to do the giveaway once I reach 100 subscribers. So I love how that charcoal pencil shades and outlines. Generally, it is so easy to use, but again, having had that paper in the background with the Daddy Vans on it, I think really limited me to being able to draw in the sketchy leaves and swirls that I wanted to do in the background. I was kind of disappointed about that. But you live and learn, right? This was a learning piece for me. I really like how this page turned out. Didn't get everything in there that I wanted, as I said, but I still like how the page turned out. So here's where you're going to see I'm going to attempt to, attempt to draw over that paper. Yeah. And it just was not cooperating. So note to self. I thought maybe if I dried it a little more, it would allow me to write over. And it's got matte medium over it, but it still would, see. When I realized I could not sketch in stuff below, kind of put that off to the side. There was my thinking moment again. What to do next. These are some letter stamps that I had picked up a while ago from Michaels. I've had them for a while now. This is the first time I'm using them. The big ones anyway. These little box sets I've had for a while because I used them with my clay projects when I was doing clay. But they're really good for stamping out your sentiment, quote, what have you on your projects. I'm using archival ink. Then you'll see here that I goofed up with one of the letters in this word and wish I had had some hand sanitizer. There's the side word U that I use a baby wipe, and then I bring in a little bit of gesso to fix my mistake there. Definitely on the shopping list is to get some hand sanitizer. From what I heard, it works really well for getting ink up that has been stamped. I think as long as you get to it right away. So I'm going to be getting some of that today. So these letters, again, I got these from Michaels, and there is caps, lowercase, and some other symbols and stuff in the set. It's a full set. And I think it was, I don't know, $14, $16 or something like that, and then I had used a coupon at the time. So I like how it stamped out my sentiment here. And I'm just using my charcoal pencil to sketch in around it. Again, I really wanted this piece to be really sketchy along with the collage. I didn't quite achieve that, but and then here I thought I was going to bring in a little bit of the sketching, doodling, but then I decided I didn't like it because I wasn't able to continue on and bring it around the whole area, so I wiped it off. And that's about it. That's the end of the page. I hope you like it. Leave me a comment, like and subscribe if you like it. Thumbs up. Refer a friend. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.